Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is the Bodega Cat Book Club Health Edition, and today we're going to continue our reading of Never Be Sick Again by Raymond Francis. And we'll be reading chapter 8, and this is part 3. Okay. I hope you guys are enjoying this book. I know I am. It's got lots of information it's nice to go back and digest it, a little bit at a time. So I'm going to move the camera in just a tad. If you guys have a book, you guys can follow. If not, you can follow with us here. Whatever works for you. Okay, heat treatments get rid of toxins. Not only do saunas feel good, they are good. Saunas get your heart beating and your blood circulating, helping the body to detoxify in unique and important ways. Toxins do the damage, and saunas help with damage control. That's a good way to put it. I've never thought of it that way. Saunas or other heat treatments help to accomplish detoxification in the following manner. A layer of fat and oil exists just below the surface of the skin. Heat from the sauna increases skin temperature, causing those fats and oils to melt and ooze out of the skin's oil glands. As sweat and oil are excreted, the toxins dissolved in them are secreted as well. By excreting these toxins and then washing them off your body, your toxic load is lowered and its cellular health improves. Anything that raises the temperature of your skin for an extended period of time is helpful, including sweat wraps, steam rooms, hot baths, and spas. That's interesting, isn't it? Because in Western medicine, we're always trying to get rid of the fever. But really, the fever is just a part of the healing process. I know in olden times, like like the grandma or great grandma eras, they would pile up more blankets on you if you have a fever. You gotta sweat it out. That's what they say, right? You gotta sweat that fever out. Choose a temperature that can be tolerated for an extended period of time, 30 minutes to an hour or more. The point is not to sweat out a lot of water, but to rid your body of oil-soluble toxins. Our skin contains sweat glands and oil glands, both of which help us detoxify. Sweat gets rid of water-soluble toxins and even helps to eliminate toxic heavy metals such as mercury and cadmium. Oil glands help remove oil-soluble toxins that the body would otherwise have a difficult time eliminating. We have created a world filled with oil-soluble toxins such as gasoline, solvents, pesticides, and ingredients in toothpaste and personal care products, and the body is not able to dispose of them efficiently. The longer the skin is heated, the more oil-soluble toxins are eliminated. Be careful not to overheat. The challenge is finding an environment where you can keep your skin temperature up for an extended period of time without overheating or dehydrating. Overheating and perhaps feeling dizzy can happen easily if you stay in the steam room, a hot tub, or a top bench of a hot sauna too long. Choose a low temperature sauna, 110 to 120 degrees, and use it for an extended period of time. An hour or more is best, though you may have to work up to this duration gradually. In a commercial sauna, which is usually too hot, try lying flat on the lowest bench. Remember, drinking adequate amounts of water before, during, and after your sauna is essential in order to prevent dehydration. Every time I go to the gym to exercise, I spend an hour or more in the sauna, lying prone on the lowest bench to keep the temperature moderate. Sitting on the top bench in a high temperature for a short period of time does not aid in the elimination of oil-soluble toxins. Effective elimination of these toxins takes time. A good supplement program containing fat-mobilizing vitamins and essential fatty acids makes the sauna even more effective. See Appendix C. And we'll read that when we get to the end of the book. Be sure to shower afterwards. Prevent those toxins from reabsorbing back into your body by washing with a non-toxic Castile soap. Taking saunas or other heat treatments is not a luxury, But like exercise, it is a physical responsibility and an important element of the physical pathway. Incorporating saunas after exercise is even better. Exercise begins to mobilize toxins, and saunas continue the process. You may need to make a few sauna visits before you can tolerate extended periods of time, but the benefits of these heat treatments are incredible. These treatments feel good for very good reasons. They provide beneficial physical stimulation, including increased lymphatic and cardiovascular circulation, as well as the removal of toxins, all of which are good for the health and function of your cells. EMFs, environmental assault and battery. Some forms of physical damage are obvious, others are invisible to the naked eye, such as electromagnetic radiation from sources such as medical x-rays, microwaves, cell phones, TVs, power lines, broadcast antennae, and other electrical items. Electromagnetic radiation can affect and damage our cells, leading to a variety of diseases, including cancer. Two kinds of electromagnetic radiation are ionizing and non-ionizing. Ionizing radiation, like atomic bombs, medical radiation, X-rays, is a horrifying kind of radiation that we already know can injure and kill. Non-ionizing radiation, such as microwaves and electromagnetic fields, is easily overlooked and often labeled, quote, benign. Non-ionizing radiation has measurable effects on cells and is therefore important to consider. Some scientists have made ominous statements about the effects on human health. The introduction of man-made electromagnetic pollution may indeed be the single most important environmental change we have made. Whenever possible, avoid exposing yourself to anything unnatural and foreign to the body, including all types of man-made electromagnetic energy. Any electrical device, a hair dryer, TV set, electric blanket, or dishwasher, produces a non-ionizing electromagnetic field, EMF, that affects the way our cells function. Cell membranes or receptor molecules in them act as amplifiers for sending signals into cells. EMFs can interrupt and change these signals, affecting certain cell functions and cell-to-cell communications. For example, EMFs can alter the rate at which cells make hormones, enzymes, and other proteins. EMFs can also induce changes in the rate at which genetic material, DNA, is made and in the rate of errors when RNA is copied from it. Researchers believe that daytime exposure to EMF limits the release of melatonin, a cancer protective and sleep regulating hormone. By limiting release of melatonin, EMFs can contribute to cancer. One prominent cancer theory is that cancer cell growth results from a breakdown in cell-to-cell communication, which is precisely what happens when melatonin production is limited. In fact, any process that reduces the average level of melatonin is likely to promote estrogen-dependent cancers such as breast, skin, and prostate cancers. Consider some of the ominous EMF research. In 1998, a 29-member panel of the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences concluded that there is a, quote, possibility that electromagnetic fields are carcinogenic, end quote. The committee found a statistically significant correlation between EMF exposure and leukemia in both children and adults whose exposure was significantly higher than average. Likewise, studies in epidemiology and the American Journal of Epidemiology have found statistically significant correlations between EMFs and breast cancer, brain cancer, and Alzheimer's disease. All of these health repercussions can occur simply from being near an electric appliance. Consider an experiment reported in scientist John Ott's 1976 book, Health and Light. Wow, this all goes back all the way to 1976. So interesting, huh? Two groups of mice, were placed the same distance from a television set. One group was separated from the set by lead shielding, the other by black paper. The paper shielded group became hyperactive, aggressive, and wild, while the lead shielded group remained normal. Autopsies of the paper shielded group showed brain abnormalities. Interesting. I wonder how much EMF contributes to ADD, ADHD kids, autistic kids, because some of their behavior are hyperactive, aggressive, and wild. It's probably a combination. I'm sure that probably EMF contributes to it, but there are other stuff that contributes to it too, like sugar, candy, right? Uh, and being and allowing kids to be on the game, um, on the on the cell phone, computer, playing games. I'm sure these are all contributing to it. With studies like these, one wonders what may be happening to people who spend a lot of time in front of TV sets and computer monitors, particularly children whose brains are still developing. And oh, I just said that. That's funny. And who are more sensitive to such damage. Is our children's behavior being affected not only by the messages on TV, but also by radiation damage that we are not yet measuring? Less than a century ago, we did not sit in front of the electronic screens at all. Now we use them constantly, both at work and play. Yeah, you have to get like EMF protection devices. I have one on my cell phone. I have one on each of my laptop and desktop. Uh, I have a house uh, EMF shield protection for they put a smart meter. I didn't ask for it, but the city put it on there. So I bought a cover for that to shield the whole house. Um, yeah, you just kind of have to do the best you can, because modern technology, we're so dependent on technology that we have to, and you can also get the blue screen um, EMF protection for your computer screen. That I don't have, but the other things I do. Anyways, I'll leave a link on the description below on the companies that I use. And this is not I mean, I don't get commission or or money or whatever kickbacks from them. It's just you know, the research I've done in the past. And honestly, I've never really tested it, like with an EMF meter. If anyone and if anyone tests it and finds it, whatever product that you use works, put a link, I mean, put a link and also a comment in the comment section below and share it with the community. Um, I know for me, I feel it physically, because I get a lot of headaches if I don't have any strips on if I don't have the EMF protection strips on the computer. I know I get headaches, I get really tired, my eyes get really watery and irritated, just kind of symptoms like that. So anyways, interesting. Share any experiences you guys might have too. Share it with the community. The best policy for people concerned about health, especially cancer, is to minimize exposure to EMFs. Remember, EMFs are generated around electrical appliances, power lines, and transformers. They can be found just about everywhere, including your home, office, or school. EMFs become less dangerous as distance from the source increases. So choose to keep a safe distance between your body and electromagnetic fields. Just a little plug, the EE system medallion, the EE medallion also helps with shielding the EMF. So if you're out, you're not at home and you're out and you don't have the protection needed, If you wear the EE medallion around your heart area, around your neck, as a necklace, it will shield the EMF exposure and radiation for, if I remember correctly, for about 6 feet from your body. So that it's another alternative. Uh, but you have to get, if you do get the EE medallion, make sure you get a strong chain to wear it around your neck, because the ones that come with the EE system company, it's just a little string, so it could break easy. So that's another. I'll leave a link. You can get EE medallions from our website. I'll leave a link uh, for that if you guys are interested. And then when you come to your EE sessions, you can get it energized with the during your session when you do your session. So anyways, just thought, food for thought. Okay, how much exposure is too much? Scientists measure the power of these fields in milligauss, mg. Experts around the world have proposed limiting chronic individual exposures to a level of 2 mg, with occasional peak exposures to about 10 mg. Unfortunately, we often experience much higher exposures. A hair dryer, which develops a powerful field next to your head, can dish out 20,000 mg. Holy moly! Wow. What was the recommended one? 2 level mg, 2 to 10. And this is hair dryers 20,000? Oh my gosh. An electric razor. No wonder the body's all wonky and all twisted and sick. Gee whiz. The body's like, what the heck is this? An electric razor, not a battery razor, not a battery powered razor, can generate 1,600 mg and is mere inches away from your pineal gland, which produces the cancer productive hormone melatonin. A study done at Battelle Memorial Institute's Research Cancer in Seattle found that men who use electric razors had twice the odds as non-users of developing leukemia. The correlation between EMFs and cancer is positively alarming. We need to be careful. A running dishwasher or clothes washer produces 30 to 50 mg at a distance of 1 foot. So be sure to keep a couple of feet away while it is running. A microwave oven can measure 80 mg at a distance of 1 foot. So quickly drops off to between 3 to 8 mg just 39 inches away. A fluorescent lamp develops as much as 4,000 mg an inch away, but measures only 0.1 to 3 mg when 39 inches away. A high voltage transmission line can measure up to 300 mg at the edge of the right of way. A regular distribution line can measure 80 mg right under the line. When buying a home or choosing an apartment, choose one that is not immediately adjacent to high voltage distribution and transmission lines or transformers. We need to be prudent in the use of appliances. When possible, use rechargeable battery-powered appliances rather than plug-in models. Do not stand immediately next to the electrical appliance when it is turned on, especially for an extended period of time. Follow these other recommendations also. Turn on the dishwasher when finished in the kitchen and you are ready to leave the room. Avoid electric blankets or use them only to warm up the bed before you get in it. Keep telephone answering machines and electric clocks away from your head while you're sleeping. Increase distance from televisions at least 6 feet away, computer monitors, and appliances, especially those that come into close contact with your body, such as hair dryers and electric razors. Just a little note on the computer strips that I mentioned before. It doesn't entirely eliminate the EMF, it just reduces it. So you're still exposed to it, just to a much lesser extent. Just wanted to clarify that. Because I think some people would think, oh, I have the EMF protection and I can do all the computer work I want, or, do all the gaming I want. No, you still want to eliminate or reduce, your exposure as much as possible because you're still exposed to it. Avoid using a cell phone. If you must use a cell phone, limit the number and length of your calls as much as possible. So, O.J. Simpson's, if any of you remember about O.J. Simpson, his lawyer was on the phone a lot with the phone in his ear, and he ended up getting brain cancer, brain tumor. Hmm, interesting, eh? Avoid gazing into your microwave while your food warms up. Even better is to avoid the use of microwaves for safety as well as nutritional and toxicological reasons, but at least stay a safe distance away if you do use one. Be careful of battery-powered wrist watches, a subtle but constant EMF exposure. That's interesting because now they got all these Fitbits and things, kind of like watches that you wear to monitor your heart rate and all that. I wonder how much EMF exposure is that. I don't have any of those, so I wouldn't know. Replace your computer monitor and television with flat panel display units so as to eliminate the electromagnetic radiation emitted by the cathode ray tubes in regular TVs and monitors. Of course, some people are more susceptible to EMFs than others, biochemical individuality at work. For example, people who are under stress seem to be more susceptible to damage by EMFs. In general, do whatever is possible to reduce EMF exposure, starting with the simple knowledge that these fields exist, realizing where they are and why they should be avoided. Microwaves zap more than food. Mobile phones produce a special kind of radiation called microwaves. Millions of us expose ourselves to a stream of microwaves every time we use our mobile phone for however long we talk. When I do use the phone, I use the speaker. Or if I use a headset, I use one of those EMF protection headsets. Yeah. Cell phone microwaves are capable of damaging cellular DNA, thus contributing to cancer and other diseases. This damage can even be passed on to future generations. Research clearly shows that the microwaves produced by cell phones alter cell chemistry and function. A Swedish study completed in 2001 by professors Lennart Hardell and Kjell Hansen found that people who used cell phones for up to 10 years had a 26% higher risk of brain cancer than a control sample who did not use cell phones. Mobile phone frequencies can cause a dramatic reduction in certain brain cell proteins and permanently damage brain cells. The cell phone antenna is right next to your brain. Mast cells, cells involved with inflammatory responses, such as those in asthma, were shown to be irreversibly damaged by exposure to mobile phone frequencies, with just 10 minutes of exposure per day for 7 days. Many people use their cell phones far more than that. To make matters worse, digital phones emit a series of pulses, and pulsed microwaves are known to be more biologically active than the continuous wave radiation analog phones used in the experiments above. Cell phones can also interfere with melatonin production, thus interfering with sleep patterns and possibly promoting cancer. Since little research on the long-term effects of low-level microwave exposure has been done, the best course of action is to avoid cell phone use. When use is necessary, at least limit the number and duration of your calls. The threat of ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation, as I have mentioned, is a serious kind of radiation that is fairly well known. This type of radiation, which includes gamma rays and X rays, is known to have harmful effects on human tissue. We call this type of radiation, quote, ionizing because it results in the formation of chemically reactive elements or molecules called ions, which alter the electrical charge in atoms and molecules within our cells. Ionizing radiation causes damage to DNA, cells, tissues, and also causes cancer. Therefore, no level of exposure to radiation can be considered safe. Research on ionizing radiation has uncovered many problems from both natural and man-made sources. In 1983, residents of Montclair, New Jersey began complaining of headaches and allergies. Their homes had been constructed on a landfill from a U.S. uranium plant that closed in the 1930s. Their homes were found to be contaminated by, quote, dangerously high levels of radiation, which seemed to be related to the reported health problems. Similarly, in Kerala, India, which experiences the highest levels of natural environmental radiation in the world, a high prevalence of Down syndrome and other forms of mental retardation are found among residents. Oh, that's interesting. So Down syndrome has uh, affects one of the chromosomes. I don't know if it's a damaged chromosome uh, or something. I don't remember. Anybody knows, put it in the comment below. But I'm just curious if the radiation affected the DNA and thus would cause the Down syndrome. I've never thought of it that way. That's kind of interesting. They always tell us it's genetic. Maybe we gotta rethink that. We have to rethink that premise, isn't it? Interesting, huh? Okay, sorry, let's read that sentence again. I got a little distracted. Okay, similarly in Kerala, India, which experiences the highest levels of natural environmental radiation in the world, a high prevalence of Down syndrome and other forms of mental retardation are found among residents. Radiation damage is also evident in Japan's Hiroshima and Nagasaki victims and in the health records of former employees of government and atomic facilities. We have no control over about half of the ionizing radiation we are exposed to in our lives because it comes from natural sources such as radioactive elements in our soil, water, and atmosphere. Research the level of radiation in the ground and water where you live. If your local ambient radiation is particularly high, you might want to consider a different home. At least avoid drinking contaminated water and use ventilation to remove radioactive gas from your basement. We do have control over the other half of the ionizing radiation we are exposed to, that which comes from man-made sources, primarily medical x-rays. Seemingly, quote, benign dental x-rays, mammograms, and other radiological procedures can subject the body to significant physical harm. Given that the overwhelming majority of diagnostic x-rays are not medically necessary, we should consider them as a health risk and carefully evaluate their value. Risks versus benefits. Whether or not to have an x-ray is your choice, not your doctor's, and the decision should be made by you. As noted, this decision should not be taken lightly because ionizing radiation from medical x-rays and radiation treatment can cause cancer, genetic defects, and tissue injury. In the medical and scientific communities, much disagreement exists about the health effects of low-level exposure to ionizing radiation in diagnostic procedures. Many have assumed that low-level exposure is not a health threat, but modern research is beginning to cast doubts. A study of the health records of 35,000 workers at a government bomb plant in Washington state concluded that even small doses of ionizing radiation are 4 to 8 times more likely to cause cancer than previously believed. This study, financed by the 3 Mile Island Public Health Fund and carried out by Alice Stewart, MD, concluded that radiation, and this is in italics for those of you who are just listening, uh, this is the following is in italics. Radiation delivered in small doses over time, as we are exposed to today through common medical x-rays, may carry a higher risk of cancer than the same total radiation delivered in a single dose. End of italics. Edward Radford, past chairman of the National Academy of Sciences Committee on Ionizing Radiation, says the cancer risk of low-level radiation may be 10 times worse than is generally accepted. Higher radiation doses may kill off damaged cells, thus preventing their proliferation, whereas weak exposures damage cellular DNA, but still allow damaged cells to replicate. Thus, cells are able to reproduce and proliferate cancerous mutations. This conclusion is the opposite of what our dentists and physicians teach us. The medical community has always maintained that x-rays are safe because small doses over time give the body time to repair itself and are therefore less damaging. However, instead of repairing, the body's cells appear to suffer damage and then replicate that damage, enabling the problem to spread. The bottom line, avoid radiation whenever possible. Because some radiation exists in the natural world, we must focus on reducing our exposure to the radiation we create, especially from medical x-rays. Optimizing your physical pathway. This chapter began with a comparison between your body and your car. Your car will provide better service and last longer if you take good care of it. Even an old beat-up car can be restored to good function with tender, loving care. The same is true of your body. To move yourself in the right direction on the physical pathway, maintain your body with good nutrition, exercise, sleep, proper breathing, and natural sunlight, and protect your body from physical harm, including loud noises, sunburn, and radiation. Making even minor adjustments to your physical pathway can make a big difference. As always, the choice is yours. End of chapter 8. Wow, it's very interesting. Yeah, if you guys have any stories or experiences with any of the things that we read about in this chapter, uh, you know, share it with the community in the comments below. And we'll our goal is to get better as a community, right? We help each other out, share information. And but like I said, your body is the ultimate physician because people can make recommendations and you can try them and may or may not be suitable for you, but it's something that you have to be a judge of, right? Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll be back next week with a brand new chapter. In the meantime, I hope you guys all have a great day and a great week. All right, bye-bye now.